Hello. This is Beauty Bears all on the road. So I'm sorry in advance if you hear the road because I'm focusing on driving home, and since there's a long commute for me daily and I don't always have time when I get home, or I'm just completely drained, spent, I decided to take the podcast on the road, and hopefully you guys are okay with that. So just want to bring up some things that a lot of newbies in the industry don't always account for. So one of those things are having a mind of making money and not throwing money away. Now, what do I mean by that? As a professional in the industry, i.e. barber, esthetician, makeup artist, hairstylist, what have you, everything in between and anything outside of that, you have to provide inventory, right? You need hair color, you need clippers, clipper cleaning spray, whatever, blades, razors, gloves, neck strips, all the whole nine, right? So most people just think that you show up and everything just flows easily, or things will just come to you. And there's a lot of things that goes into the day-to-day for an industry professional. And like, if you open up a business, or you have a salon suite, or a barber chair, or you have an RV that you're using for traveling, or you just go on site to people's houses, whatever your situation might be, you gotta factor in everything. If you're driving and you're doing professional hair, makeup, barbering, massages, whatever, and you're going on site, you gotta think about the wear and tear on your car, the gas, how many miles are you paying for tolls, all these things, right? On top of that, if your car is used solely or mostly for business, how do you put that into your tax forms so that you can make sure that you're benefiting from your 1099 status, or your self-employed, or your entrepreneur statuses, LLC, whatever, right? Everybody has different things that they have to follow and steps, but are you taking advantage of the right tax codes and putting in everything? All your tools. If you need tools and my clippers broke, that's a write-off. Hold on to your receipts. Some people have emails. You could email it to them. Like, they could email it to you. Sometimes if you're not sure, take a photo of it, upload it. Some people could scan it. There's software, there's apps for that type of stuff. Keep track. If you're using a Square software, you're using Gloss Genius, all these different apps for people to book, that's something you need to file and report, that you're paying monthly for those service fees. You want to put in the taxes you pay for your products and your tools, because come tax time, people don't realize that unless you're tax exempt, which some businesses are, and some 1099s don't have that status, or they don't know where to begin. For me, I rather just pay it up front and then not have to worry about it, because sometimes in the quarter, if you don't remember and you're tax exempt, you got to pay that money back. So it's important that you put everything and you do everything correctly. Be organized is another tip that I would say. Be organized with all your things. And because you're self-employed, if you don't have a retirement plan, I'm going to suggest that you look into the variety of companies, right? You have Fidelity, you have Merrill Lynch, you have Vanguard, you have so many places where you can get an IRA. If you're more into crypto, there's iTrust Capital. They're another crypto. You can create an IRA, your own 401k that it's basically your own retirement. There's different names for it. So you have to do some homework, do your due diligence. But being an entrepreneur also means you have to be smart, and you have to set yourself up not for failure, but for success. So keeping track of your expenses, keeping track. And every year, products and tools go up, so your prices on what you charge will also go up. And if you're smart about it, you can make sure that your clients understand due to increases and cost of living, whatever. And sometimes you don't even have to explain yourself. Everyone knows that everything goes up. And if you make it make sense for your specific scenario, you will always be busy. I see some professionals that jump from one price point and they triple or quadruple themselves, and they don't have a reason to kind of justify the increase. So sometimes customers, clients, what have you, they're like, well, why should I pay $750 for hair and makeup with so-and-so when last time around they charged so-and-so last wedding $250 or $300? So when we double and triple, not saying that you can't do it, but make sure that you're ready to lose a percentage of your business if people are not ready for that, right? We have to sort of like read the room, so to speak. People are all struggling, right? Now, if you're in a high bracket, you're in a luxury market, and you know your clients can afford it, then disregard this portion. It's not for you. But those in white, blue collar neighborhoods, and those neighborhoods where they're struggling, there's Walmarts every corner. Not knocking Walmarts, there's Walmarts around us, no big deal. But if people are frequently in those places because they're trying to save some money, then they're probably not going to drop $750 to $1,000 for bridal hair and makeup. But maybe they will. Maybe they're going to save all their money for that. Or maybe people just, so you just have to kind of see your neighborhood. Now, if you're working out of Short Hills, New Jersey and Livingston, New Jersey, then you could charge almost whatever the hell you want. If you're doing the Real Housewives of New Jersey, again, you can do that. But if you work and are doing clients in a neighborhood, let's say New Brunswick, right? New Brunswick is a college town. College students don't work full time. So you have to know college students may or may not be able to pay $75 to $150 for a fade or a haircut and a beard. Maybe if they have money, their parents sent them there and they got, or they have a trust fund or whatever, maybe they're paying it. But we have to be realistic with what we're doing. And if we have a set market where we know our worth for this specific thing is worth $400, $500, $600, hair extensions, balayage, whatever. If we know that our neighborhood, our clientele can afford it, then by all means do it. But that's just a little tidbit on pricing. Make sure you know your demographic market, know who your client that you're targeting, because 9 out of 10 times teenagers are not paying that for stuff. Teenagers want things affordable. So if you're trying to get prom people, they're not going to probably pay $300-$400 for hair and makeup unless they're in an affluent neighborhood. Now, if you're trying to do a certain demographic of older clients or male clients that are working on Wall Street, and those are the clients that you want, you might want to go set up in the city and have freelance. I come to you in Wall Street and I bring my chair and I set it up, and I'm going to be in the conference room or what have you. Like, let me use a set space, and I'm going to come every Thursday. I'm going to be here from 9 to 5 for anybody, or whatever, 9 to 9, whatever works for you. And I'm going to set up, and I'm going to charge $150, $250, whatever it is that makes sense. Wall Street, you can charge $200 for a haircut. So we must be realistic on what we set ourselves up for. And then also not sell yourself short, right? Because if you're paying for website maintenance, if you're on WebEx, not WebEx, is it WebEx? No, I'm thinking of my old thing. It was WebS. If you're on GoDaddy or whatever these different sites are, you need to know that's an expense that you're going to incur. You're going to have your Square payment thing. If you decide I'm only strictly Zelle, Cash App, Venmo, all those. You have to also justify the paper trail. So you're still going to be watched for money to make sure that the money that you're making is legit. So be careful what sites and what apps and what things you're using. Don't get yourself in trouble. Now let's talk about marketing. People want to know what you can do for them. And if they don't know you from Adam, they're not going to sit in your chair. Sometimes people will be like, yeah, you know what? I can check out Emily. You know what? Emily looks like she knows what she's doing. But 9 out of 10 times, people are going because they heard someone else say, I went to so-and-so. I saw your work on social media. So having a social media page, regardless of if you just do Instagram or you just do Facebook, you can get into the neighborhood marketplaces and you can promote yourself on there. Very easy and inexpensive. It's free. There's a mom one, just moms. I've had employees that would say, hey, I go in there and I talk to all the moms. I'm a mom. They can relate because they know and we know, and there's lingo, right? Barbers. I'm going to the car enthusiasts, the guys who are like roughing it up, you know, people in general, whatever. Like, you could look up hobbies of people in the same community, in the neighborhood. And then if you feel comfortable, right? Like my last guest, amazing. She went to the different businesses and she gave a basket with her information, with her cards. Hey, I'm Cynthia. Sacred Lashes is my business. This is what I do, right? So these are things. And also, I'm just passing by. There's a beauty supply van right next to me. I think it's called New York City NYCBeautySupply.com. Free promo for you guys. Hook me up for that free promo. So things like that. Put a bumper sticker or whatever. But remember, you may get pulled over if the car is not registered for just business. So look up your city, your state, and follow the protocol for your town. You can put a magnet on your door. You can get vinyl put on. Very nice things. If you have a storefront, make sure to do a nice storefront. And if you're unisex, make sure that that's also advertised, because many of us, like myself, I had a very feminine storefront. So it kept a lot of masculines out, even though most of them were like, we don't care. We know women know how to cut hair and they do a really good job. Sometimes, no offense, but sometimes barbers just learn from someone that they know, and a lot of them may not be licensed, unfortunately, and they're just cutting hair, fades and blending and all that, but they don't know how to scissor cut the hair. Just from experience, I know these things. So, right, make sure that you are appealing to different genders, different people. If you're from the community, pride, gay, what have you, make sure people know that you're pride friendly, you're gay, you know, whatever. If you're open and you're an ally, whatever, make sure people are aware that they know that. Some people don't want to go somewhere where they don't feel safe. They don't feel like they could walk into a place because they're Christian only or a certain religion or whatever, and they're not safe there. So we need to also know, who are my people? Who am I comfortable? Like, I'm open for everybody, right? But there are some places also that are just, this is the type of hair that I do. This is the type of makeup that I do. I do basic makeup. Don't come in here asking me to chisel you out, because I'm not doing that. You know, so make sure people know what you're going to be doing, what your strengths are. Put pictures. Before and afters are great. Don't forget client release forms. You want to make sure you ask permission. You never do anything without asking permission from a client first, because they're going to tell you yay or nay. Some people do not like pictures. And if you choose to and they say, yeah, but just don't get my face, you can cover their face, or you can get a mirror and have them cover their, like, you can get creative, right? So remember that there's a lot of things you could do for free. You give out flyers. I mean, I know that you cannot legally, in my state at least, in New Jersey, You cannot put something in someone's mailbox, and you cannot put flyers on people's cars anymore. But people are getting creative. They're putting little rubber bands to hang it on the doorknob. They're doing door knocker type style. So it depends on, you, if you want to get creative, if you want to be a part of festivals or community events where you could set up a table and, volunteer to help. Let's say there's a community homeless center or family center. Go volunteer one day to do haircuts for free. Like sometimes we have to do things to get ourselves known and out there. And if you feel like giving back, which I think is such a blessing, I think is so important that any of us in this industry or in any industry for that matter, we should volunteer our time, because our time is free. And I don't care if you charge $1,000 for somebody to sit in your chair just for a haircut. You should be giving of your time, and not people just say, oh, I donate money to such and such. In my opinion, I think it makes you well-rounded if you could actually serve the community, serve people, and give back. That's just my opinion, okay? So take it with a grain of salt. Another important thing for people to know, CYA. Cover your A, your butt. Cover your ass, right? Make sure that you have great consultations with clients. You give them the expectation. You do test strands. You tell them, you ask them, and you continue. And if you can't have them fill out, I went over this with you. You said this was okay. We went over what you had done to your hair previously, your skin, that you're not allergic to stuff, what have you, is important. And most of us, we get comfortable with people. We get so comfortable in our trade and in our profession that we sometimes get too comfy. And there's that one moment that the enemy comes in. And I say the enemy because sometimes if you're a faith person, there's always that one person trying to throw a fiery dart to get you off your game. But if you sit down with everybody and you give them a consultation and you give them realistic is a key word here, realistic expectations, people will love you and appreciate you. Because there's stylists that say, I can get you from black hair to platinum hair in one day. You can do it, right? But I'm going to be there all day, possibly. And two, what is the hair quality going to look like, right? Instead of it being something that, even if you have the best products, there will be some kind of maintenance after that. It's going to be dry. People need to do extra things. And sometimes people don't follow your recommendations. Like if I'm lightening your hair and I'm doing all these processes and stuff, and you go home and you don't keep up with it, guess what? Your hair is going to feel dry. So giving people the right expectations and also recommending them products or maintenance stuff. And even if they don't get it with you, they can go buy it elsewhere, right? I'm not the type of person that I have to upcharge and I have to tell you, you gotta buy this with me because this is what you need. No, sometimes people are gonna go home and they're gonna go somewhere else. They're gonna go online and they're gonna buy products that are probably watered down. But that's not my problem. I tell you, this is what I think you should use. And if you like it, I got it for you. If not, do what's best for you. But ultimately, we got to cover our ass. I tested your hair. I did a hair strand test, right? Because that's another thing, the porosity. Let me see. So this is more for hairstylists, but even if you're a barber and you're going to use some kind of chemical on somebody's hair because some guy wants some platinum white hair and the barbers are going to do it at the barbershop. Some barbers are not trained to do colors, so be mindful of that too, right? Barbers, I do think you should have hairstylists. If you're not licensed to do the whole thing, you should hire a hairstylist or someone that is a color professional, because if you do so, you cover your ass, right? You're not going to give highlights to someone that you don't even know how to do this thing. And what if this guy said, I didn't do a relaxer, but maybe forgot they went on vacation and a relative put something to relax their curl a little bit, to soften the curl a little bit. They didn't realize it. Oh, whatever. I didn't know it was, children, young people too. They want all this stuff and you might not be able to do it. Even nails. Oh, whatever. I'm going to do these designs and maybe you can't do it. Like, don't tell me you could give me a tropical oasis fingernail and I walk out of there with something looking crazy like SpongeBob, something from under the sea. So just make sure that you set realistic expectations. You cover your ass by making sure that you have people fill out the proper documents. You have consultations that are thorough, because people forget or people don't like it. Like if someone has diabetes and you're doing a pedicure, or you didn't teach the person that's doing pedicures, right? Because everyone that's in our industry should be licensed. I have to say that. Because those that are not licensed are making it more difficult for us that do have licenses. Because when you mess up on someone, you're making it hard for us. Because now people are like, oh, hairstylists, or oh, nail people, or oh, barbers don't know. Like a misconception that barbers don't have licenses and they don't know how to cut hair. That most nail salon, these are misconceptions, that most nail salon techs and people that do manis and pedicures do not have licenses, or they have licenses back home, but when they get here, they may not have it. And these are just misconceptions. So as an owner of a business, if you have staff that you know for a fact is not licensed, you're running the risk of getting sued, losing your shop license, and all that stuff. So just cover your ass, do things right. Sometimes it takes a little bit of work to get yourself going, but do things the right way. I promise you, it may take a little longer to get to where you're trying to go, but don't try to short the system or cheat the system or take shortcuts. I promise you, that's not going to help you in the end. So this is the end of my little conversation. Beauty Bears all on the road. I'm close to my destination, and I wanted to share these tips, these things for you all, and I'm hoping it was beneficial for anybody in our industry or that wants to get into our industry, and that you know what you're getting yourself into before you proceed. And all the best, and I can't wait for you to be back, for us to be back together for our next episode. Take care.